Okay. So it's they can't. It's like buggy whips went out of like we stopped selling buggy whips when we invented the car, right? Some bureaucrats do not want to acknowledge that they have become unnecessary, and that's what this is about. They gotta convince us that the technology is working when it isn't. They gotta convince us that the technology isn't working when it is, and it's just that simple. It's just that simple, because when you come down to it, the private sector, it's about developing technology that's going to help us automate our services. It's going to make it reliable. It's going to make it permissioned and trustless based, peer-to-peer, and all that stuff. They thrive off inefficiency. Think about it. Think about it. Their systems have to have inefficiency in order for it to be a debt-based. You know what I mean? You need a manageable, treatable illness that, you know what I mean? Some kind of shit. Like, we're like a battery. You're like a battery. And it could be fear. Fear for some archons that want to come back for a second serving of the energy, right? One more is overextension. Overextension. That's the reason why you can't, why you can only double down once. And then you have a existential crisis of being not able to facilitate necessity, because they were grifting all the time. It sounds like a good thing, but it's not a good thing. You don't want to facilitate a need, but we think of them as being the philanthropists, the ones that are doing all the good. You can't argue that we don't need them. But then why are we making an argument on something that somebody's supposed to know from within themselves, and nobody could never tell them nothing if it's recognized that you didn't do your book work, you didn't do your looking into, you're fucking lazy. I don't have to worry about your perspective, opinions, and shit, because it's just showing where you left off, where you quit. And you didn't get the perspective because you didn't process. And it must suck. It must suck. How it doesn't suck. Come up with the technology, right? Where the subject has a different take on whether or not it works. And a good word for a bad invention. It's a good word for a bad invention. That's what the clone is. The clone knows their cosmic origin better than the programmer or the ones who made the clone. That's going to be not easy for people to understand what I'm saying, because if I call you a clone, you're going to, what the fuck are you talking about? I ain't no motherfucking clone. People try to clone me and I don't allow it. What are you talking about? They can't do that. Like, what about parthenogenetic replication, which preceded the way that humans procreate, when or at some point in time it was necessary for a woman to make an exact copy of herself if the species was not able to sustain itself in numbers. There's still a monolithic site called the Parthenon, and you take a word, a meaning away from something where we no longer have the ability to facilitate the concept, which is that there's like 7 frequency tones that speaks to or strikes a chord with the DNA, and it's codified by the sun. You can aim at a certain, before the circumcision of the female that induced the period blood, they used to be able to take the frequencies of photons slowing down. Light slows down to make sound, slows down to make matter, slows down to make aroma, traveling on a wave pattern. So actually what's happening is being heard first and then filled out with the rest of the information and the filters that between you and reality, some of which are outside, external, and some of which are internal. And it's to keep you alive. It's to keep you waking up. Like, it makes a chemical to wake you up out of your sleep, and you'll have a spasm or something like that. Like you know, bees makes honey. You know what I mean? When they live at a different speed. Is it, you know, because it's basically genetics comes down to is a job. Its genealogy is really tells you what you do. It's the first, when you think of when you wake up in the morning, to go and you need this and that to facilitate some job or something. So all your actions and everything is already dictated by this facet before you can even think. That's why you can be customers can be socially engineered to where you don't even have to serve them anymore, and they'll keep producing energy like a battery. Is this distressing or not? I mean, it doesn't have to really be. If you don't know, it could be used against you. If you're not aware of it, it could be used against you. Not like I'm going to be one of the early adopters, the first person to implement the technology that I'm even talking about. You know, it's just that technology is nothing new. It's nothing, you just don't understand it. And when you don't understand it, you can't fathom it, then it's nothing that anyone can acknowledge. Then it probably sounds like a crazy, like, you know what I mean? Crazy talk. What are you even talking about? This is crazy. You need meds. You're on one. You've been taking too many of them shrooms. You know, even though I don't even take, like, I've been scared from taking the shrooms the last 2 years. I have nothing but good things to say about shrooms. I was scared to do it. You know what I mean? I used to be really enthusiastic about them, hunting them and everything, and now I'm scared. Like, it didn't do anything bad to me. You know what I mean? It's just,